Hello and welcome to the Our Lady of Lourdes Lenten Reflection video series. Our Sunday Week 3 Lenten Reflection comes from teacher and parishioner Nate Vandenberg. Nate, how are you doing today?
Good, Mike. How are you?
Good. First I want to ask you, how have you been involved with the Our Lady of Lourdes community and how long have you been here for?
So I've been here about 5 years or so as part of the parish community. I was involved in the young adult ministry at first when I was dating my wife, and then I think I became like an official member of the parish when we got married, and then we've been married for about 2 years or so, coming on 2 years in November. So about
awesome.
Yeah, about a year and a half or so that I've been like an official member, and so we've I think my math is wrong. But anyway, I've been here about 5 years.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Next I want to ask you, have you always experienced Lent in your lifetime?
I really didn't explore Lent until I was confirmed as a Catholic. I started tiptoeing in like the pillars of Lent, so like the fasting practice each year prior to being confirmed, but I felt like once I went through RCIA, now OCIA, I had more understanding of what the deeper purpose behind the season is, and so I would say Lent has been a more prevalent part of my yearly routine more these past years than previous years. So that's my answer.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Kind of going deeper into that,
Yeah.
Saying like you're getting more into it
Mm-hmm.
as like you move on to your Catholic journey. Like how's that changed since like you first started practicing Lent to like now?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it changes every year. My wife and I were married in 2023, and so that Lent for me was about, where is God leading me in my vocation as a husband, right? Other years have been about where is God leading me in my vocation as a teacher. This past April of 2025, my son was born.
Awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. And so this year has been a lot about what kind of father is God calling me to be for him. So I guess like it's gone deeper in the sense that like I really feel like there have just been more facets and changes in my life that I've tried to invite God into more. So in that way, I think it's changed and I've gone deeper, so to speak. So.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. What is one tip you can give to the Our Lady of Lourdes community as they enter into the Lenten season this year?
I would the one thing that I feel like the Lord has been talking to me a lot about, so you sent me the question ahead of time and I was kind of praying over it, and the word that I felt like kept coming up in my prayer that the Lord is maybe leading me to share is this idea of humility, right? And I feel like sometimes like this season can be a lot about, what am I going to give up for Lent? What am I going to do for this? What am I going to do for that? And I would just, I felt like even in my own walk, God was cautioning me to be like, is this about what you want to do, or is this about where you're going to allow me to work within your life, right? Because I feel like it's important to invite God into as many facets of your life as he's calling you to be a part of. He wants to be totally part of your life. And it's in those times of humility where we realize we don't have it all together. That's when he works within us. And that's when he helps shape us into the disciples he needs us to be for his mission. And I would just encourage people to go into this season or now progress through this season with an open heart, and a heart that's ready to accept Jesus and be ready to, sit in those moments of silence and hear where he wants to lead you. Because I feel like that's also difficult, right? Is finding those moments of silence. I encourage people to do adoration as much as possible. I love that we have our adoration chapels here. I've been using them after school to go and just sit in the stillness, right? And sometimes I go and I pray a rosary, and it's in that meditation that, I feel like God is speaking to me or leading me in some way. But sometimes it's just sitting in that stillness, carving through my own thoughts and my own expectations of how the day went, and then really getting to a place of spending true quality time with Jesus that I feel have been the most productive for me during Lent. So I guess to summarize, the two things I would encourage people to do is to, invite Jesus into those parts of your life that you really feel like you need help in, and be humble before our God, and then just sit in the quiet, because that's when you're going to hear him the loudest.
Well, that's beautiful. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I see like on your desk you have a little devotional. Can you explain just briefly what that is?
Sure. So I actually had a verse I was going to read, if that's cool with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
So this is a men's devotional for dads. My wife got it for me. It's been a helpful grounding for me over this last year or so with my son Peter, just to bring me back to like what's important, right, and kind of like carve out the mess. And so there was a verse in here that really hit me last week as I was kind of thinking about what I wanted to share. And it's from Psalm 25, verses 8 through 10. And it says, "The Lord is good and does what is right. He shows the proper path to those who go astray. He leads the humble in doing right and teaching them his way. The Lord leads with unfailing love and faithfulness all who keep his covenant and obey his demands." And I just feel like it's that place of humbleness that I really feel like the Lord is calling me to. And I would encourage other people to find that. And it's hard for people. I feel like we want to take everything in our life and control it, right? And when things don't go our way, or where there's that distance between control and what actually happens, right, that's where stress comes in. But it's in those moments of lack of control that we need to invite God in, right, in order to, follow the path he's leading us on, and, like I said, help us become the people he needs us to be, for his mission, and, for ourselves ultimately to fully become who, we're meant to become in his big scheme of things. So, I'll probably read this over and over again. It's kind of built for like dads in all, sort of periods of their kids growing up. So like, I'm sure I'll read this now as a new dad, pick up something, read it again when Peter is older, pick up something else. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's Men's Devotional for Dads, A Year of Prayers, Guidance and Wisdom by Chris and Jamie Bailey. It's really good. I recommend it. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom, Nate. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and go Cavaliers, and take care, Mike. Thanks.
Yeah, you too. Thanks. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this Lenten reflection. For more information about Lent and how to walk through this wonderful season, please go on the Our Lady of Lourdes webpage and click under the Lent tab. God bless.